First PT boat. Many people say we don't know where they came from. We don't know who first built the PT boat. They were Lucifer White Star Line's PT boats, first of their kind, built by. Well, even Germany didn't technically have anything that advanced, but basically some scientists or some people. I actually might have designed the PT boat myself, but basically I designed them, and it took Germany a little while to actually be able to build them. But basically, we built a couple at high cost, and then later on, they were cheaper as time went on. And they were actually way too thick and way too heavy, basically. But they're made out of fiberglass, pretty much. And they're Lucifer White Star Line's PT boats. And maybe actually later on, we're going to be used for basically the ships and stuff like that. But they're too heavy. So anyway, I had 3 or 4 of them, basically. Lucifer White Star Lines. Me. So anyway, epic creator and basically building some boats here on Earth. So anyway, to play around with for my vacation. So anyway, JFK or whatever, and Lee Harvey Oswald, I believe, was there. And basically, there's an engine guy, and some people say no one was there, but there's always an engine guy with all my boats. So, and also a driver. So anyway, and they were apparently using them to make runs on a Chinese or Asian warehouse, basically. They'd go up there and they'd steal supplies and then load them up on the boat and then take them out to another boat and basically take them back somewhere else. And they ended up killing a bunch of Germans or Chinese or someone there because a bunch of stuff was being stolen. I think they were stealing turbochargers or something like that from these Chinese or people. I forget what they were stealing, but they're stealing stuff. And they're running over boats inside of the up and down this delta. They called the Viet Cong Delta or something, but it was in China or someplace, I forget where. It's wherever they got the PT boat out of. But basically, and they said there was a Japanese crew there or something like that, but it was JFK. So, anyway, and Jimmy Carter or some of them. Anyway, though, they were all there on that boat, on the big boat, and they were stealing stuff from China or someplace. Anyway, eventually, this is where Lee Harvey Oswald, where basically JFK or someone, he gets up on the big boat, and there's lots of witness statements. There's lots of people that witnessed it. They said he got up on the big boat, he smiled and laughed, and grabbed the big cannon, and loaded it up, and started firing at the small boat. So I don't know exactly who this was. I mean, basically congressman. And he started firing at my small little PT boat, which was my, it was painted white, but then they painted it gray for some reason. And they shot a bunch of holes in it and tried to sink it, but it wouldn't sink or something. It was built, actually that's the ironic thing. They thought if they just shot holes in the bottom, they would sink. But it was built to be able to float. So even after they shot holes in the bottom, it didn't sink. It was built really well. Best quality. So the hull actually had foam in it, so it wouldn't sink. And they couldn't get it to sink. They eventually loaded it up with rocks or something like that and got it to sink down to the bottom. So anyway, they're trying to hide the evidence, apparently. So anyway, it sat down there inside the river for quite a few years, and eventually somebody pulled it up and pulled it out, and then they put putty over the holes to hide the bolt holes in it. So anyway, it had sat down there for like 60 years or 30 years or 20 years or something like that, and then they pulled it out. And it was good as the day it went down or something like that, because it was all made out of titanium or something like that, or some good engine stuff. So, and they just rebuilt it and put it back together. And then started running it. Anyway, I don't know. You have to ask some guy. But it was Lucifer White Star Line's PT boat. And they're all white. All my ships were white. So, White Star Lines. Yeah, like I say, that's where basically Nixon or JFK and all of them started. Jimmy Carter was this one little PT boat base, where personal transport base, boat base, and basically they were my boats, my personal boats. So I had them at this house, and they were just taking them and stealing them and using them. They weren't supposed to use them that much. I eventually said, well, maybe they can use them a little bit, but they were running over boats inside the delta, so I said no more. And they were stealing from that warehouse, so I said no more. So that's when me and them actually initiated a war, apparently. A war with the creator of humanity and 12 other races. So anyway, Yeah, I didn't declare war on them. They declared war on me. So anyway. So that's how it started. One of my PT boats. First of its kind. Later on we put them into production a little bit, but they were too heavy. And stuff like that. So anyway, yeah. Well, Lusifer White Star Lines. And for 50 years or 100 years, people will be harassing me saying, can you believe this guy? I don't believe this guy. Blah, blah, blah. It just paid, basically. They're just paid money, and it's actually just inflation money. Their money is really worthless. You know, and they're just being paid by murderers or thieves or whatever. Idiots. They don't even understand. They didn't even understand that basically I'm Lucifer's star of 12 races. A leader of 12 races and creator of 12 races and all the stars in the universe we don't just go missing. You know, I created all the stars. I'm responsible for 2/3 of the galaxy in creation and matter. As of 50 trillion years ago, I was very well known as the creator of all the stars, and basically the largest bulk seller of particulate metal. Something like that. Anyway, I sold to everyone. I didn't care. Like, sure. Anyway, whatever. I don't really care. Anyway, I mean, yeah, basically mostly just giving it away. You know, because I had so much of it and I like to sell. I was just selling it because I wanted to sell something. It's like, I want to sell something. What can I sell? How about matter? How about metal? So I was selling metal to the universe. I mean, everybody wants more metal. And so I could sell very high quality, very good metal. Anyway, I don't really care. I was just mining for fun, basically. Anyway, so people were building stuff out of it. Anyway, it was a long time ago, and I don't really care about it. But then later on, I was building like other things. So anyway, a lot of people would be like, I'm blah, 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 blah. Anyway, yeah. So that's why a long time ago, and a lot of people knew that I was the creator of the human race, or endoskeleton life forms. I used to call them inside-out exoskeletons. Because everyone knew I was a massive creator of exoskeletons. And then later on I created endoskeletons and some other ones. So anyway, everyone knew me in space. I'm pretty sure. I was Lucifer's star. I originally just called Star. Anyway, or something like that. Anyway, eventually they tried to change my name to Anton, but I didn't really like the name Anton. And later on I said, well, my name's not really Anton, because they kept on calling me Anton. And I was like, I'm not Anton. Or Anon. I'm not any of that. I'm Lucifer's star. They're like, you're Lucifer's star? I was like, yeah, Lucifer's star. White Star Lines. Lucifer White Star Lines. Like, oh. I don't know why they thought I was Anton. So anyway, no, never was. Some black people were just painting the back of my tugboats in the LS shipyard. They're trying to call it the Harlem and Wolff Yard. Like I was the one that owned all the tugboats. They just kept on painting the back of the tugboats Anton, and Anton was right across the street from the White Star Lines tugboat service. Because I had a builder of all the ships, you know, I had tugboats, of course. I built the tugboats too. So I built them for my ships it would move around other ships and dock them and stuff like that and have them docked. So they're always White Star Lines tugboats. But some black people kept on painting Antons on the back of them. And then they set up this little Anton, this black Anton shop across the street, and they would charge like 3 or 4 pennies or dollar or whatever on top of what the regular price was. And then they would come right across the street to my shop, where the tugboat service was, and then they would pay me or pay my people to go move the boats for them, because I own the tugs. And then later on, they were trying to buy my tugs, and it's like, I think eventually they did get one broken down old one or something like that. But they were my tugboats. They just kept on paying Anton on the back of them. But they were always White Star Line tugboats. Everyone knew that. LS tugboats. They would just get up there with some black paint and paint on the back of the tugboats. And my people every morning would go get out with some white paint and paint it over. So I just paid a guy to paint the back of my tugboat every day. They tugboats every day. Every day they would just go out there, scrape off the black, repaint with the white. So because there was all these little Antons going out there and Anton tugboats, so people thought Anton owned tugboats. I'm like, no, Anton doesn't own any tugboats. They're all LS White Star Lines tugboats. He owns the coal. He owns the tugboats. He owns the biggest ships. They're all White Star Lines, Lusifer White Star Lines. So, liners. Mining and shipping.